Yeah, it's your boy Danny J. Quick, and I'm here with Kyron Silva. And we want to thank you for joining the Four Tales podcast.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.
We're about to talk some comics and get a little bit controversial. Everything from indie books to movie deal level commercial. With no rehearsals when we converse to coerce you. And then we do the quick takes and try to get to the person. So join us and get your comic book a few more sales once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales. Once a week wherever you pod. It's Four Tales.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Taurus Comics in collaboration with Wingless Entertainment
Yes,
respectfully brings to you the 175th episode of the Four Tales podcast. I am your host, Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. Across the way is not the violent vigilante Danny Quick, but instead we have your favorite indie comic creator's favorite indie writer, Brian J. Lambert, and together we are your two beloved comic creators here to help you find your next favorite comic. We're live on the Age to Geekdom network via Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. So if you're listening and watching us live, thank you for your support. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and review this podcast because all your positive reviews and interactions help us reach a bigger audience. Brian, how you doing,
What's going
sir?
on, Kyron? How you doing, bro?
I am out of breath as a out of shape comic creator. Walking my dog is my exercise, and I am out of breath, but I'm okay though. I'm
Yeah,
okay.
good. I think I want to change not my tagline, but I think I'm going to change my name because we got Kev on stage, we got Kev off stage. Danny
Mm-hmm.
was Kev on comics,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna be not Kev on comics. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make the, you know what I mean? I want to be the fourth
Okay.
one, maybe. See,
Okay.
see how
I
that
see.
works. I'm gonna test that,
Okay.
test audiences.
Okay. Test audience that. All right.
Yeah,
We'll let the
yeah.
people know in the
We'll
chat.
workshop that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like the idea that you are still sticking to the theme of blackballed comic creator with glasses as my co-host. Like that just has to be the thing going on.
I feel like that was purposeful on your end. I think that of all the applicants that were more worthy than I, you were like, but they are not bald and they don't wear glasses, so I got to go with this guy, right? Like, so people
I
won't know the difference between me and Danny.
I okay. Full disclosure, you were nominated by like four people. When I sent the feeler out there, I was like, "Hey, who wants to do this?" And four people were like, "I want Brian. I want Brian." And I don't know if you've done podcasts before or hosted anything, so I'm like, "Why is Brian the best choice?" I had to have you on.
You know, I actually did. I used to host something with Mike Watson and Brett Hillisham. So I've done some podcasts with Brett.
Okay.
And when he was doing the Indie Comics Dispatch podcast pretty regularly, and Mike and I actually had started doing a versus like battle system, character verses and stuff like that, where he was doing live draws. So I mean, I've done it a couple times. I love talking comics. I love talking in general.
Yeah, you do.
So I think it was pretty fun to just be able to do it and actually had the opportunity. I mean, Danny, Mr. Vacation himself, being, wherever he's at again, gallivanting.
Mm,
I'm just gonna be his stand-in. I'm Danny's stunt double. That's what it
mm,
is.
okay.
Light the beam, like
No.
whatever he does. See,
Uh,
I'm trying to exude Danny right now.
okay. You gotta work on it. It's like this. It's like this. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we get to finally light the beam.
Light the beam!
You gotta really
Okay,
put
I gotta
yourself
throw
into
it
it.
back. I gotta
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
I gotta really believe it.
Whoa.
That's the problem.
Don't throw it back, sir. Don't throw that
See,
back.
this is why people wanted me on the podcast, man.
Wow. All right.
Unfiltered.
Yes. Before we bring our amazing guest on today, you shared something today that I feel like I need to share with our audience. You have an amazing book that's available now, and it has a kick-ass song. Like it's a
Thank you.
badass song.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to share this with our audience because you actually put out the entire image or the entire video today, right?
Yeah. We actually dropped it. So I had been teasing it for a while, and then my nieces had basically hit me up and were like, "We want to hear the full song." So I was going back and forth of whether or not I was going to, because again, sometimes who sits around and listens to anything for 2 minutes. But if my nieces want something, man, they got it. Uncle Brian is going to deliver. So yeah, we dropped the entire song today, beginning to end. I'm super proud of it. I'm super proud of what we were able to accomplish with the music itself and the theme itself.
All right. Well, let's listen to that real quick, and then we will bring our guest on here. Sure. All right. I don't know how to do this, honestly.
Oh man.
They were never meant to fly. Now they'll tear down the sky. Rising from the ashes of a failed piece, I look into a broken mirror and still see me. Is this a nightmare or a broken dream? I step inside and take control of my destiny. A vessel made for righteous wrath, reigniting fires of a war-torn past. I'd sacrifice all that I have if fate could save me from this path. They were never meant to fly. Under boot and hill, the 7th ward wasn't made to kneel. Born under a bad sign, the witching hour's my time. Strength through family and friends, Kitsune and the old gun defend. Yasuke, the black wolf descends, and the Gilgamesh will meet its end. They were never meant to fly. Now they'll tear down the sky. Air Force One. Fight for freedom. Freedom, freedom, freedom. They were never meant to fly. Now they'll tear down the sky. Floating owls and gilded towers, Elysia still clings to power, but the man here have come to reclaim freedom through fire and flame. Freedom through fire and flame. Air Force One. The Gilgamesh is the god killer. But what's a god to a non-believer?
That was dope, dude.
Thanks, man.
That
Thanks.
was
I
dope.
I love it. I've been bumping it around the house, and my wife is probably super tired of it.
Yeah.
But for like a month, since we got it all produced and done, which is also kind of funny, real quick, and I know we got to bring our guest on. I just saw a comment scroll across because we get live updates and stuff. I got a
Mhm.
comment on my Instagram that somebody just said, some troll just said that was written by Chat GPT, which thank you if that's what you think. If you think I'm that dope, great. But sorry
Wow.
to tell you, it's not Chat GPT, it's all Brian J.
Yeah.
So I
Bro.
love it.
You know what? Haters gonna hate.
It's almost a compliment, honestly. It's like when you're playing video games and somebody's like, "Oh, you got aimbot," or you got a Cronus. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just a
You're that
killer,
good.
bro."
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like you said, we do have an amazing guest on. We're gonna have to bring you back because I don't think we've had you on to talk about Air Force One. If I'm not mistaken, I think we only talked about. I think we only talked about Justice last time.
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
So we're gonna have to bring you back next season. Talk about Air Force One because you got Volume One out. Go to Wingless Entertainment, right?
Yes, winglessent.com.
Yep.
It's live on the site. It's live on TikTok. You can purchase your copy. We are still fulfilling Kickstarter orders. We're still shooting out shoes and action figures and all this stuff. So we got everything there. We also got a coloring and activity book. We just debuted just a
There
couple
you
days
go.
ago. So if you got something for the kids or you want something for the kids, we got that too.
And Brian just got a violation from TikTok for saying TikTok in an outside website, just so you
Oh,
know.
probably.
But
I forget all the time. Yeah. Oops.
yeah, no. But let's bring our guest on. He's an amazing writer, the mind behind the mantle. He is Adam Santangelo. Santangelo. I can't pronounce your name. I don't know why.
Santangelo. But I've heard
I
it so
knew that
many
was going to
ways
be the
over the
case.
years that I'm good with whatever.
It's it you know, Brian has a nice easy name. You and I, we have interesting names that people probably stumble all the time. So we appreciate you being on, though. Adam, for anybody that isn't familiar though with your work, can you give us a quick rundown about who you are and what you work on?
Yeah, well, right now I'm the writer of a comic book called Mantle, which debuted this summer. It's a 4-issue miniseries. The first one is out, and you can get it from my website. You can get it from Kindle, but the Kickstarter for my second issue, Mantle number 2, is live now, and we've got catch-up bundles, so you can get both that way. And I've 30 years ago, maybe we'll get to into more detail on this. I actually worked at Marvel as an intern, and I wrote a couple Spider-Man comics. So I actually have other comics credits, crazy enough, but they're from 30 years ago. I had a bit of a break between my previous comic and this one.
Nice. And that is true. You do have your Marvel credits. I actually went on Marvel's site and you are listed on there. So it's actually really cool to see that.
It's pretty wild. Yeah, it's almost a whole other person that did that. I was 17, so.
All right, well, let's start off with that. Like you said, you were a kid, you were in high school. Why take this long of a break to maybe start another comic?
Why am I doing this now, or why did
Yeah.
I do that in?
Yeah, why such a long break, that gap in between?
Well, when you're young and you're 17 and you have an opportunity like the one I had, you kind of think maybe the rest of my life will be like this. Who knows what I've got ahead of me? But I went to college and I graduated and I got a job and started paying rent. And next thing you know, life just moves on. And it hasn't been bad. I got married. I had a kid. I've had a great career doing something else. But I knew that I always wanted to get back to doing something creative and ideally comics. And I finally had a bit of time on my hands, getting a little bit older. My daughter's a little bit older, and so I decided to start working on this idea. And now here we are. Like, it's been in the works for a couple of years, but it finally saw the light of day this summer. And now I'm in marketing mode. I'm out talking to people, which is not my natural state.
Okay.
So I went through the Kickstarter earlier today, and I'm one really impressed by the art. The art looks amazing. But I also am really interested in the subject matter in terms of it addresses bullying and it addresses a few things with there are some trends as the kids call them now going around that really focus on some bullying stuff. So um what was your like ethos for telling this story now and making it about the content it's about?
Yeah, well, it all comes from a personal place in the beginning. Like, I remember when I was brainstorming what project I might like to work on, I thought about different stories that were relevant to me, things that I could speak authentically about because maybe they came out of my own life. And I was really badly bullied during high school. I remember it was like a real crisis for me that I had to find my way out of. So that was one of the ideas I started kicking around and got most excited about. This is not autobiographical. Um, but I think what was interesting to me is, like, I see bullying and just young people feeling powerless or wishing they could take revenge, some but not knowing how. And you see terrible things that happen in schools nowadays. And to me, it's all swirling around this subject matter that I've had in my brain for many years, and that relates to my own youth. And so I guess also I wanted to do a superhero book, or a superhero adjacent book. And so I thought to myself, like, well, what if someone found a weapon in the closet at home? What if it was a super weapon? What if it was a power glove from a suit of mech armor? And that's what happens to VJ, the lead character in the first issue, and he's inclined to use it against guys that have been bullying him. But that opens up all sorts of problems, like moral problems, but also just like practical problems, because he's in trouble now. And yeah, that's where it came from. It felt topical. It felt as relevant as ever, but it came out of my own life.
The experience that you had with Mantle, and you're saying it's partly autobiographical. The entire 4-issue run, Does it take aspects of your entire life, or is it maybe just that first portion of the bullying?
Yeah, it's probably just the first portion. It's one of these things where like I don't know that there's, more than one or two scenes that really resemble anything that happened to me in the four issues.
So you never
But
found a magical mantle in your closet upstairs as your dad's or nothing like that?
unfortunately not. That would
Okay.
have been cool. That would have been maybe a solution, or maybe not. Uh, um, but at the same time, and maybe you guys have come across this like in your own work, like I feel like people that know me really well could read the book and like practically everything in it is drawn from my life in some way. So not just like straight up autobiographical transfer, but it's like, oh, I know why Adam did that, and I know who that character is supposed to be, and I this is exactly like another thing that Adam likes, and so there's like it feels very personal to me in every which way, despite the fact that this stuff never happened to me for the most part.
I think all or most good writers do that, right? Like, there's no way that Stephen King met that many writers that fought vampires and the super flu and everything else, right? So I think that maybe the best stories come from the heart. And
Yeah.
so I would wonder, or I guess I am wondering, how much of your current life, right, outside of that 30-year break that you took from comics is infused in terms of, you said you had a really great life, you had a child, you got married. How much of that part of your love story is in this other love story to like your childhood?
Well, it's interesting because like a big part of the story, and I'm going to try to be careful not to give too much away here, but even in the very first issue, we've got Mantle, or sorry, VJ, the lead character VJ. His mother is a major character in the story, and his father has passed away. But his father, the presence and the memory of his father plays a role, and I'm a father now, and I know what it's like to be a parent, and so again, don't want to give too much away, but over the course of the story, I think VJ's relationship with his parents and even their relationship with each other becomes a factor. And I know something about marriage now at this age, and so I think that's like yet another way that like my own experience has like found its way into the story. Um, sure enough, I managed to tell a story about marriage as well as one about a boy being bullied in school.
Has your child read the story, and what the feedback did they give you?
She did.
Yeah.
She thinks it's awesome, and I mean, to be honest, it's not really written for her. Like she's 8, and it has a couple bad words in there, but she's not going to not read her dad's comic book. So like I gave it to her, and she like I was almost surprised she totally understood everything that was going on and followed along and is ready for the next one. So she thinks it's awesome. She likes that her dad makes comics.
Dude, that's the most important right there, right? Like the that from your child. So I also wonder, is this, and this is my hope again after reading the Kickstarter page, and I haven't supported yet, but I am going to support after we get off of this podcast 100%
Thank you.
because I think it's a dope project.
Yeah, I heard
So is
you said you're
this,
gonna put down like 1,000, right, Brian?
yeah, 1,000 pennies
Oh, okay.
divided by half? Hey man,
Hey,
there was a government shutdown.
I,
Leave me
I,
alone.
I was gonna say pennies are valuable now. We're not making them anymore. They're
Right,
collector's items.
right. So I know that it's a 4 issue, basically miniseries, but is this the new beginning of your comic journey, or is this the bow tie on your old comic journey?
It's a good question. The short answer is like let's wait and see where I am by the time we get that fourth issue out the door. We'll see where I am emotionally, spiritually, financially. Um, but I would love to do more. Like honestly, there is an ending at the end of the 4 issues, so anyone who gets on board can look forward to like seeing what I think is a pretty cool ending to the story. But there are some open threads left. That, the characters. Some characters are still around at any rate, and so I have an idea of what might follow. And I just love comics. Like I would love to write more. This one is like a real labor of love, and we're putting a lot of work into it. And I'm kind of the orchestrator, if you will, of all the different contributors. So we'll see how much energy I have left, but I'd love to work on more comics.
I could definitely tell by the massive collection of comics behind you that you
Yeah,
love comics.
yeah. Is
Like
it
it,
obvious?
yeah. And for anybody listening through the podcast that's not watching live, I mean, we're talking about a massive collection. That's an entire wall behind Adam. It's really cool to see. With that, that 30-year gap between working at Marvel and what you're doing now, who are some of the people that you're following that you enjoy reading?
Yeah, it's a mix of creators I loved, 20, 30 years ago, and just new creators that I think are awesome. So like, old longtime favorites of mine are like Eric Larson, who I noticed you guys interviewed him. I noticed him in your intro.
Yep.
I love John Byrne, Frank Miller, um, David Lapham, who did Stray Bullets, Howard Chaykin, like all of the greats from that period and even earlier. Thanks about the wall. I'm proud of it. But I read lots of like Marvel, Image, DC, indie books even today. I'm trying to think of some stuff that I'm really enjoying. I think Eve Ewing is doing an awesome job on Exceptional X-Men. Really like the artists on that too, Carmen Carnero. I love Jonathan Hickman. I read anything that he puts out. Oh, Tom King. I think Tom King is like one of the best writers in comics right now. Alan Moore, I'll name drop Alan Moore as well. I mean, everyone knows he's the greatest, but he is. Yeah.
So that's also, I guess that dovetails into what I was wondering about. You said that obviously, like, what if a kid finds a weapon, which is a very, again, I think it's very topical, right? Because we see things that happen with school shootings, we see all these other things, right? And so I think you've taken it to like a next level with it being a super heroic type idea. So kind of, I guess, on a tangent of that, what was like your visual inspiration? Because I mean, I'm an 80s guy. So when I read Power Glove, I was like, that's dope, right? Like again, just the name recognition rings a bell for me. So what was like your visual inspiration, if you had any, or kind of your story inspiration for doing it beyond your personal life?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been saying Power Glove since the very beginning, and I was a kid when Nintendo Power Glove came out, so I'm sure that's in the mix somewhere. Um, You know, I might start the answer by saying, and it's a good chance to talk about my collaborator Jean Fernando, who did all of the black and white line work, and then Irma Canivilla colored it. Um, but when I started writing this, I didn't know who my collaborator was going to be, so I knew that I was going to have like a suit of mech armor, and that there would be a glove that he's wearing, for much of the story. But I honestly didn't know what it would look like, and like I was open to a wide range of collaborators and what they might bring to it. Maybe we would have gone with a more cartoony style. But I wound up finding Jean, who's done like this amazing job, like creating these mech suits and the amount of detail that he's adding. So I mean, I like a bit of anime now and then. I love me some Pacific Rim, for example.
Mm.
So once I saw the way that he was designing, the suit of armor that I generically described, I started leaning into that more too. And so, I think we've wound up with something that has a bit of an anime influence. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but a bit of Iron Man, bit of Pacific Rim, maybe a bit of Robotech is like something that I grew up with as well. Yeah.
He says his, you know, my Max Sterling shirt on. I'm all about it. I'm with it.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm going to put up some of the images that you gave us from the book. Like you said, you were working with your artist. How was that process, working with somebody that you haven't worked with before, as far as the design and just the overall feel of the book?
Well, I think what anyone aspires to is to have like as much of a mind meld as you possibly can with your collaborators. Like I always admire writer artists. Probably, I think a lot of those people I named 5 minutes ago are writer artists themselves. But when you're not that, you wanna work so closely with your artist that it feels like you are the same person, or you share the same vision. Um, but having said that, I just wrote a script. Like initially, I had written full script for the first issue. I've now written full script for all four, and I didn't necessarily know who I would be sending it to when I wrote it. But once I met John, a big priority for me was like, I sent him an initial set of pages to do as samples. Um, but I was also just eager to see like what our rapport was like, and how easy it was to work, and how responsive he was to communicate with. And was it just easy to understand each other? Was he a nice guy? I try to be a nice guy. Could we get along in that way? And long story short, he gets my scripts. He asks me any questions that he has. We often go back and forth throughout the issue over email. And every page he turns in just like exceeds my expectations. Like I kind of visualized like a 4, 5, 6 panel grid when I write the pages, but then he does these really dynamic layouts and takes it beyond anything that I had in mind. And I was telling someone else and they were a little surprised, like, we don't really do video calls or phone calls or anything like that. Everything happens over email, and we just pretty fluidly communicate with each other. And between the script and his talent and the email rapport, it just works out.
Do you know where he's located at in the world by chance?
I do, actually. He's in Manila, the Philippines, which is wild. I mean, and actually, considering my book takes place in the suburbs of Toronto, Canada, like typical American feeling suburb. It's amazed me how well he captures what I described.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how is that? Because I know a lot of us are using artists from different parts of the world nowadays. So how was that communication wise with someone who is in a different part of the country and describing to them what you wanted on that page to be like?
I mean, it far exceeded my expectations. Like, I gave him the script, and I thought at some point maybe he would say, "Hey, can you maybe send me a reference of Mississauga, which is my old neighborhood, suburb, or can you send me a reference of like a high school?" And he never asked me for anything, but he consistently just turned in pages that were like exactly like, I remember the first one he gave me. There's a shot in the first issue, a page where the two kids are getting off of a school bus and walking through their neighborhood, and I'm like, wait, did I send him reference? Like, how did he know to make it look like that? But I think he just did his homework. And then in the second issue, which isn't out yet, he's actually got buildings that exist in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada. And I'm like, again, like, is that a coincidence? And he's like, no, I just Google mapped some streets and looked for interesting things. And so again, he's just blown me away with the work he's put into this.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, and again, in perusing what I perused so far, it has a very mature yet Ben 10-esque feel to me in terms of like a kid who gets this ultimate power and gets to do his thing. And again, I'm a huge fan of Ben 10. Charlotte Fullerton is one of the writers. Dwayne McDuffie was one of the writers. Like, I love what they did with that series, Man of Action and all of that. So having said that, what other, or again, without giving away too much, right? What is his struggle, right? What's his main? He's got the power. He's got his tools for revenge now, right? So what is actually the main struggle? What's the main conflict of this 4-issue limited series?
Well, the second issue really opens up the problems that he's dealing with. The first is fairly straightforward, and it reaches an endpoint where, don't want to totally spoil it, but he shoots another kid with his power glove, and what happens now? And he's kind of dealing with two levels of problems. He's dealing with an inner problem where he's like, oh wow, I can point this thing at the people that are bothering me and hurt them and humiliate them, and like that's pretty cool. I can think of some other people I might like to point that at, but he's tortured by that thought. And right from the beginning of the second issue, that's where we start, is like he feels drawn to doing certain things that are clearly the wrong thing to do, like the kinds of school shooting type things that actually happen in the world when things go too far. But at the same time, there's practical fallout of what happened in the first issue. Like, the school wants to know what happened. There's parents involved. The other thing that we introduced right at the beginning of Mantle #1 is that VJ lives in a world where superheroes exist. They're not part of his life, as far as he knows, because they have bigger problems. They're fighting supervillains, and they're dealing with major crimes, and he's just getting beat up on a school bus. They don't care about his problems. But when someone gets blasted in a high school with a super powered weapon, they might start taking an interest too. So a number of forces come to bear on VJ, both from within himself, but also just the world around him. And that's really what's going to play out over the 3 remaining issues.
I did forget to bring this up. issue 2 is on Kickstarter right now.
Yep.
And I'm actually going to share that so people can see that. But you are fully funded. Over.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, you're like at 250% funded. That's wild, man. Um,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that people can expect as far as rewards when they come back to this page and back you?
Yeah. Well, really, it's for me, it's all about getting this book out to the public. I didn't want to have a lot of frills and complexity on this campaign. I just want to make the book as affordable as I possibly can for you to get. And now that we have 2 issues out, this being our second issue coming next month, I wanted to make it easy to catch up. So what I've done is not only are there catch up bundles, and you can get the digital catch up bundle for as low as about $7 US. I'm in Canada, so I'm used to thinking Canadian dollars, but for $7 US, you get 2 digital comics, and I think it's for around $18 US, give or take. You get 2 physical comics shipped to you. And if you back either of what we're calling our catch up bundles, as soon as you make your pledge within the day, I will send you a digital copy of number 1. So that's my way of giving you a bit of like instant gratification. You came to the page, you're interested, you're curious to check this out. If you back it, you will get number 1 right away digitally, so you can get started reading.
I mean, you cannot pass that up, you guys. I mean, that's an amazing. That also probably explains why you're basically funded and you have, I mean, yeah, what, 3 days to go? But that
Yeah.
probably explains why you funded so quickly.
Yeah, totally. I think my philosophy is like, I'm doing shows. I sell the comic book on my own website as well. I'm trying to put it out there in various ways. So I'm not necessarily trying to recoup my whole investment on a Kickstarter campaign. What I am trying to do is just get as many people to try this out. So yeah, like if you're listening to this and you think it sounds cool, it is super cheap. It's as cheap as a Marvel comic, if not cheaper, to get your hands on this.
So, like I said, I read through the campaign, but
Mhm.
for our audience, because we're talking about it as if we have knowledge of it. So, for
Sure.
the audience that may not, would you mind giving us a pitch of both the Kickstarter and the book so they can be as enticed as I was having read it?
For sure. Well, the story, and then we've kind of touched on this in various ways. It's about a 14-year-old boy named VJ who's badly bullied in high school and discovers a power glove in his dead father's closet, and he has to decide whether he's going to use that glove to take revenge, or think better of it. And we've been talking about this for a few minutes. You probably have the idea that revenge is the direction he leans, but that opens up a whole world of problems for VJ. Again, he lives in a world of superheroes. They had nothing to do with his life. It was just something he would watch on a screen. But suddenly, like, he seems to have found an artifact from that world, perhaps. And as I said a minute ago, in the second issue, the superhero world, bears even more on VJ's life. So that's the story. And you're wondering about the tone of it, and Brian, you kind of touched on this a few minutes ago. I would say it's like, a Marvel comic, but with some edge on it. Like it has words that would not be in a Marvel comic, but that teenage kids say all the time. So I kind of just thought I would lean into making something that actual teenagers and up would enjoy reading. I think I would enjoy reading it as even in my 40s, but I think any, 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, this is the stuff that they're hearing and dealing with every day themselves. So that's a bit of an idea of what's going on with the comic. And then the Kickstarter, this is essentially the Kickstarter is for Mantle 1 and 2. 2 is the new one. I'm expecting to ship rewards in December. The book is done. So I've actually, full disclosure, I've actually sent it to the printer. So I'm going to be fulfilling very soon after the campaign ends. But we've kept the reward tiers very simple. So for as low as I think about $4 US, you can get Mantle number 2. You should probably start with Mantle number 1. So for about $7 US, you can get both comics. Again, I'll ship you the first one within the day that you make your pledge. And then there's a few reward tiers above that, but basically it's all about digital and physical rewards. So the top reward tier is for approximately $18 US. You get both comics, physical, shipped to you, and you'll get digital copies with number 1 sent to you within the day. So that's our top tier of the campaign.
All right, you guys, please go to the Kickstarter page. Just go to Kickstarter, search out Mantle number 1 and 2. It will pop up for you. Um, I want to I want to keep talking about it because I just finished Starcore, the Kickstarter for Starcore 2 days ago,
Mm,
and there are very similar things between my story of Starcore and yours with Mantle. So I just want to keep talking about it. But I also want to
sure.
find out more about you as a writer outside of comic books. Have you written anything else that maybe we can check out?
Um, I don't know if there's anything that I want to admit to here. I
Oh,
I mean, first of all, the Marvel stuff that I did a long time ago when I was a teenager, it's out there. Like you can both of the Spidey stories I wrote are in a recent omnibus, the Ben Riley omnibus #1. But you can also just get at least one of them, maybe both on Comixology and Marvel Unlimited and places like that. So those are super easy to check out for anyone that's already into those apps. Um, I also in my 20s I made a film. I made a micro budget film called Half a Person that I wrote, directed, and produced, and you probably can't find it anywhere, and you're probably better off. I you know I think it was a heck of an accomplishment that we got it done, but I don't know. Making a movie's hard, so I actually feel a lot better about what we've done with Mantle. I Part of the reason when I came back to doing something creative, I did a comic book, was I just felt it was a little easier for me to control and get my arms around, and I just felt a lot more confident that I could make a good product and tell a great story without wrangling actors and technicians and all the things that go along with making a movie.
if you don't mind me
Movies
asking,
are a rough road, man.
Mm,
They're a
go ahead.
living, breathing beast. And so I applaud you for even, making the effort in doing that. So do you see yourself or do you see Mantle or do you want Mantle to be a transition into more longer form writing and more kind of going back to that creative space that you were in and that you feel very and look very comfortable in right now?
yeah, I would love to. I mean, um, first of all, I'd love to write more comics. Like if it's one that I sort of generate myself and uh, sort of sort of orchestrate in the way that I have Mantle, it's probably going to come when this one is done. But I would love to collaborate with someone. I'd love to work for publishers. This was always my dream. It's what I wanted to do since I was a kid, which is how that internship came about so many years ago. I just really wanted that. Um, now I'm older, and it's like I'm not doing this because I want something else. I'm not doing this to like make something else happen. I'm doing this for its own sake. But yeah, I would take all sorts of opportunities that came up to do more of this, and not necessarily just comics. I used to write short stories, and interested in coming back to that as well. But I'd love to do more comics more than anything else.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Well, Adam, this has been an amazing interview with you. Rod in the comment said he was sold on your book, so hopefully he goes back and supports you. But
amazing. Thank you.
but we want to make sure our audience listens in and follows your work going forward. So where's the best places online for people to do that?
I am on basically every platform now. So if you look up Adam Santangelo on um, X, Blue Sky, Threads. You will find me. I'm on Instagram. I think you'll find me under my name, but I'm Castle Frank Comics is my handle. That's just an old thing that I've had hanging around for a while. Um, Mantle is on Facebook, so you can basically find me anywhere. My website is adamsantangelocomics.com. So if you can remember that, that's also got links to my social profiles. You can also subscribe to my mailing list there. So there are many, many different ways to follow along with what I'm doing, and even just hear me talk about comics and stuff that I've been reading. So even if you don't go for the campaign right now, would love for you to follow along for the journey.
No, we want everybody to go to the campaign.
Yeah, go for the campaign.
Yes,
Yeah,
do the campaign.
You got
right.
I agree.
Yeah,
you got
yeah.
3 days left.
Also,
Go. Oh, good.
as far as the campaign goes, man, I saw you did something pretty awesome there too. You were covering shipping. Shipping is
Oh yeah.
included in the tiers, man. Having run campaigns myself, and Kyron just said that he finished Starcore. We know how difficult that whole shipping element can be. So that's
Mm,
amazing. Hey, if you guys are out here someone covering shipping for you as a publisher, as the producer of the comic is huge, and it means they really believe in that product. So you guys need to believe in that product too. Go and support and support and support, please.
Yes, yes.
Yes, what you see is what you pay. I didn't want people to have to deal with all this backer kit, follow up, extra hidden cost complexity. So it's a one size fits all, and we'll just make it work. Some people, depending where you live, you're getting a heck of a deal on shipping. So
I mean, the idea that you're getting a comic for $7 nowadays is a heck of a deal normally. So
Right.
plus free shipping, can't really.
Right.
yeah.
But I thank you, Adam, though, for being on. Anything else before we let you go, though?
I don't think so. It was a pleasure to talk to you guys. Appreciate you having me on. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for being my.
Don't cut me off. I want to say something to Adam, because Adam's been amazing, man. I really love what you're doing. Yeah, man. See, we were not clunky until very end, man. It's you, sir. No,
It's always
Adam,
me. It's always me.
I want to say, man, it looks like you got an amazing book. Like I said at the beginning, after we get off this podcast, man, I'm gonna go back it myself. It looks awesome. I wish you nothing but the best, and it looks like it's gonna be a dope story with some really great art, man. So congrats to you for funding, and hopefully we push this even higher.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And by the way, your theme song was pretty killer there. Makes me want to go check out your book, so I will.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Speaking of that, Brian, since you're a co-host, thank you for being part of this. Where can people follow your work and keep up with you in the future?
We are Wingless Comics on all social platforms. We are the only Wingless Comics on Instagram, Facebook, the Clock app, because I don't want to get another violation. And yeah, you can follow us on our website as well, www.winglessent.com, and that has all our social media links in there as well.
Thank you for that. All right. And you guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me at tauruscomics.com. I am at Taurus Comics on all social media platforms. And this is the first time you ever checked out the Four Tails podcast, you can go to our website, which is the fourtailedpodcast.com. That is number 4, TALES podcast, where we have all our previous episodes. You can support us there by buying us a coffee, buying merchandise, all that good stuff. Join us, though, next week, where it's our last interview. Next week. Last interview of the season, where we are going to have Jamal Eigel, writer, creator Jamal Eigel, on the show, talk about his works. And then that'll be it for this year. And we won't be back until 2026. So you guys need to come in and listen in. But until then, everybody, sayonara, goodbye, and please take care of yourselves.
I want to know what it is Quick is trying to say.